Well, welcome to West Country Wanderings. Today we're here in the village of Ham, just south of the town of Berkeley along the Severn Vale, and we're going to take a walk up along the former deer park here in Gloucestershire, and we'll look at there are two moats and several lakes and views across the Severn Plains. So why not join me here on West Country Wanderings? Interesting sign back there. Apparently the Berkeley Estate are going to report me to the police if I've driven here and going to walk across the deer park. In fact, it's an old sign dating from the days of lockdown. Well, we might be heading to lockdown again, but at the moment, as far as I was aware, there isn't a crime against driving from home to walk across a public footpath. Not that I'm aware of anyway. It is definitely marked on the OS map as a public right-of-way, so we will continue our journey nevertheless. So there we're looking down on Berkeley Church and Berkeley Castle. Now, I've read some piece of information that obviously this was the Berkeley Estate, but I've read something else to indicate that it is no longer part of the Berkeley Estate, but the signs seem to indicate that it is still part of the Berkeley Estate, so it is a bit strange. However, I'm just going to pan round to the right even to give you a flavour of where we are. And some of these sites maybe become familiar to you if you've been following the Cotswold Way series here on West Country Wanderings, because that hill there is Camlong Down. Now in episode 12, I think it is, I'll look it up and drop that in. Episode 12 I walked across the top of Camlong Down because it forms part of the Cotswold Way, and further along to the right there, just be able to make that out now, is the Nibley Monument above the village of North Nibley, where we spoke about the last battle in England between private armies, Battle of Nibley Green, and of course the monument dedicated to William Tyndall, which we spoke about at length when we got to Little Sodbury. So yeah, great views across towards the Cotswold Hills from here. But that's not all. If we continue our journey panning around, if you bear with me, sorry if it's slightly jittery, it is quite windy today, so we've got some trees here. I'll try and not knock over the tripod in the process. Some nice autumn colouring there. Over there, just move that down, we have the River Severn. And that, of course, I'll be becoming a lot more familiar with as I start the Severn Way next spring. So the other side of the River Severn is the Forest of Dean, one of the most ancient forests in the whole of England, and luckily it's still intact. And we'll continue it round, and then that side there may become familiar to you if you watched my Sarah video. So yes, I did a video about the Severn Area Rescue Association, SARA, and that there is Sharpness, where they're based on the southern part here of the River Severn. So the formal name for this park is the Whitcliffe Deer Park, and it's the last operational deer park of the many deer parks that were here in the Severn Vale in the 16th century. As we've seen, it is a ridge of land, probably an outlier from the Cotswold Escarpment just over that side, which I've just shown you, and also above the River Severn. So it's like those outliers we've seen, like Cam Long Down and Breedon Hill in Worcestershire, which have kind of escaped away. Oh, the camera's shaking slightly, it's quite windy. Escaped away from the main part of the escarpment. There are a line of ancient oak trees here. I haven't seen them as yet. I haven't seen any deer as yet. If I do, of course, I'll include that in the video, so we'll keep looking out for those. I'll probably need to swap my lens to put the older telephoto lens on for that. Now, the entire park is surrounded by a brick wall some 2 meters in height. In fact, I had to climb up over a wooden ladder to get into the park. It is part of the right of way, but of course that makes sure that the deer don't escape from the park, because obviously they would become injured on the roads that surround this area. Now, sadly, well, for me at least, because I am a bit of an animal lover and I don't agree with hunting, well, I just heard of the hounds, the kennels for the hounds, which is just literally at the base of the hill here, and they use this hill to exercise, and obviously they are part of the Berkeley hunting for deer, and of course for what I think is called like a diversion, isn't it, for the foxes. Obviously fox hunting is currently illegal, but they use the scent trail to get the hounds to follow. There is a moated site just below the deer park, and that probably contained a hunting lodge, and we'll see if we can find any trace or remains of that. There are the line of the Scots firs in front of me now. Now, there are many ponds such as this one dug out across the deer park. I'm not sure why, perhaps to provide water for the deer, presumably. Considering the amount of rain that we had last night, I would have expected that to be a lot fuller than it actually is. So it's probably not very well kept in terms of being leak proof, so I don't hold much hope of there being any water in that in the summer months. Now, these tumps in the field here on the top of the deer park, I think we've come across these before and I've forgotten the name of them, but I know they are for rabbits, for breeding rabbits, and which they would have used on the Berkeley Estate. I'll drop that name in now, but I know we came across them when we were going on the Cotswold Way towards Painswick Beacon. Very symmetrical row of sycamores here. So obviously that's not naturally seeded like that. Just see that through there. So that's a nice symmetrical line, but obviously it's not a natural line, and it's just been planted there so it grows across the top part of the ridge of the hill here. And of course the reason this deer park has been kept, because it's part of the Berkeley Estate. A lot of the old country estates were broken up because they couldn't afford to pay their inheritance dues. I think that process kind of happened around the 1930s, and this is the last of one, but probably the most spectacular in terms of its sighting on the top of this ridge high above the Severn plain, looking across towards the Cotswold edge. Brilliantly quiet landscape up here so far. I've only seen one other walker today. It's coming up to lunchtime, and I'm just enjoying the sounds of nature and the views all around me. Our first glimpse just down there of some deer. I'll swap my lens shortly. I'm going to get round. Just coming out of the Scots Pine pine glade which is just there. It looks like most of the deer are inside there at the moment. Now the deer were just at that location there. There's the wood. So I've just put my telephoto lens on. In the process of deering that, the deer have disappeared back inside of the wood again. So we'll continue our journey, and they'll probably pop out. We'll see some more around the other side, because there is another pine woodland just over there. Group of the deer are just over there. Sorry, my tripod's not at the moment. It's the biggest grouping I've seen, and there are literally hundreds of deer over there. Hundreds. It's as close as I can get. That path used to be open. It says it's no longer open. It was an environmental path, some kind of government scheme, but it says it's now ended. It's no longer a right of way. But that's a fantastic sight there, with the Forest of the Dean in the background, the Severn Vale. It's just wonderful. Just a few of their heads looking up towards me, because they have very sensitive hearing and a sense of smell, and they can pick up humans at very short distances away, though I am quite some distance away at the moment, probably about a quarter of a mile, so my telephoto lens is extended on its full length at the moment, so I'm quite some distance from the deer. I'm sorry I can't get any closer than that. Yeah, that's just a great sight, absolutely fantastic sight. Yeah, that building there is Deer Park Lodge. It has a very striking similarity to Broadway Tower. It's like a miniature, well, not miniature, it's not that small, but a smaller version of Broadway Tower. Yeah, amazing. Beautiful brickwork in it. There's huge numbers congregating around the base of that tree there. So I'd estimate there is an excess of 100, perhaps 150 deer at that location, spreading all the way across. Extraordinary sight here in Gloucestershire. I do apologise for the slightly shaky camera work, because it is very windy, and so my telephoto's on its full extent at the moment. Wow, two stacks. Oh, this is extraordinary now, if you can make those out. Yeah, there's two giant red deer stags, dwarfing the other deer, one making his way up now. So we are in rutting season moment. One of my aunties, she's gone down. In fact, I can hear the rutting noises. Went down to Exmoor recently and got some footage of them rutting. Just got some deer coming up behind me as well now. They just stopped. Now they look like fallow deer. Recognise those from when I used to live in Plymouth and they came into my garden. Stay still, let's just stay stock still. They are actually looking directly at me. They're just crossing over the footpath I've just come along. There they are. Make out the antlers. That giant stag down there. It is like an ancient landscape up here. It's like it's lost in time. The 21st century surrounds me in the towns and villages, but here you wouldn't know. You really wouldn't know. Kestrel on the top of that former tree there, tree stalk. It's just perched at the top there, see if we can wait for him to fly off. He just dived down into one of the ponds, probably getting, I'm not sure, maybe, there he goes, and he's down. Well, we've come up from the main road. I'll say main road, it's a very quiet road. It takes us down into Thornbury. Now I've been walking along the top of the ridge here just behind me. That's where the deer park was, and here is an old access gate. It is now currently locked, but that access gate would have taken you back up towards the deer park. It looks like it's no longer a right of way. So I've walked back to my car, which was parked at Ham, and I've just driven here to the nearby village of Hill. Yes, it's all the H's here in Gloucestershire. Well, we may even be now back in South Gloucestershire. I think we possibly have just crossed over the border here. I'm outside a delightful church, which has views right over the Severn Vale. In fact, right in front of me, as I'm looking at the camera, looking at you right now, I can see both of the Severn bridges crossing the Severn estuary. So we'll go and have a look. I don't expect the church will be open here because it's in quite a remote location, some half-mile walk from the road, and obviously security and all of that. But we'll have a look here. There's also a Hill Court which is adjacent to it. In fact, that's just at the rear of the church, and we'll see if we can have a look at that as well. So this is the magnificent parish church of Hill. Now sadly I don't know anything about it at all, so what I'm going to do is retrospectively I'll look and see what I can find on the old web about it, what its name is. I don't even have a name for you at the moment, and I'll drop that in the usual way in the subtitles below. It's just a fantastic setting. It just absolutely looks wonderful, so we'll take a closer look. So what I can tell you is that the name of the church is St Michael's, so it's St Michael's Church here at Hill, and indeed we are in South Gloucestershire. Sadly though, I have just tried the older door, but I'm afraid on this occasion it is locked, so we can't get to have a closer look, but we'll have a quick look around some of the exterior of this lovely building here. So here, with the red and fallow deer behind me, I'll say goodbye from the deer park at Berkeley in Gloucestershire. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, please consider a like, subscribe, a share, or indeed a comment. Till next time, take care of yourselves. All the best. Cheers now. Bye bye.